Let's talk a little bit about something that was ahead of its time. WWE announces at the end of September that they're going to be debuting a 24/7 service, which is going to be on cable systems like Comcast. And this, of course, is an on-demand service that you're paying monthly for. At the time, that was all the rage. I know Howard Stern was trying one around this same time, or not too terribly long after this. This, of course, is the precursor for the WWE Network. Bruce has talked about when he first came up to work for Vince in the late 80s, that even back then, Vince was talking about a network. And of course, at the time, he meant a traditional television network, not the OTT service that we know now. When did you first hear Vince sort of freestyle about perhaps a WWF or WWE network?
We talked about it a lot and early. Don't remember the date or the year specifically, but the motivation to buy libraries, like, the AWA library from the Gagne family. And I think actually it was from I think Gene Okerton's son bought the library, and we bought the library from him. Then the Mid-South library was acquired. I know I went down to Dallas and met with Mrs. Von Erich, the matriarch of that family. So our goal was always to buy all these territory libraries, accumulate all the content, and then figure out what we're going to do with it, was kind of the idea. And by that, I mean, we had talked about doing a cable channel, much like, and I'll show you how stupid I was. I'm the guy that said the Weather Channel will never work. And, hello, look at Jim Cantore. I'm kidding. But, seriously, I didn't think the Weather Channel would be a success. It was a huge success. We were talking about doing a channel. There were channels available, space available on cable systems to have a channel. We weren't quite ready for that, but that was what the game plan was going to be that. And then, of course, as the evolution of social media occurred, they accomplished that with WWE, the network now. It's the WWE Network. So but it's been talked about a long time, Conrad, a long time, because we knew there was great content out there that had aired once. The thing about this deal is that territory wrestling stuff aired one time. And it might have aired randomly here or there, but essentially they were one-offs. So they aired once, and their shelf life was one run, and they were out there waiting on us. And most people had not seen them. They're a territory thing, regional. So we talked about that a long time, and it's worked out pretty well. The WWE Network's making us some money.
Yeah, you could say that again. Somebody else who's going to be making some more money in this era, your boy, Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, is going to take over as VP of Talent Relations. It would be described by Wade Keller that he was already positioning himself as soon as he joined WWE as the quote replacement in waiting for the overworked Ross and his talent relations position. It happened gradually throughout 2004 with Johnny taking over more and more of the duties and responsibilities. And then eventually when you're promoted, he gets the spot. And it's categorized in the newsletters here that he is a political climber, and he's having trouble winning over some of the WWE wrestlers who were, quote, used to Ross's management style and their talent.
Here's what that meant. The code for that is JR was honest. We might not have liked him all the time, but the son of a bitch was always going to be honest with us. I wasn't playing games. I wasn't one of the boys trying to quote unquote get over, brother. And that's the whole deal there. I was not aware I was going to be replaced in talent relations. Vince told me that at a TV one day. He said, I want you to go down to a meeting with the talent, and I'm going to make John's going to take your spot, and I'm going to promote you to senior vice president or executive VP of business strategies. Of course, it was never even a title. It wasn't even existent. It meant nothing. I did nothing. He didn't want me to hurt my feelings for me to leave. I ended up, how that worked out. But nonetheless, Laurinaitis' deal was out of the clear blue to me. It was a total shock. I didn't know it was coming. I think sometimes he was less than truthful. I don't think as forthcoming as he should have been. He had a great smile and pretty white teeth. I know Mrs. Baba liked him, and he had some stroke. But the boys knew he was a worker, and they still know he's a worker. And if you go back and look at his track record in talent relations, give me a long list of stars that he signed, that he developed, that that are going to the Hall of Fame and has drawn big money for the McMahons. I challenge you.
All righty. We're taping every Thursday from now. It would be written in the newsletter here that one of the reasons that maybe the wrestlers had a different relationship with you is they gained respect for you during your years of successfully building a roster that led to the company's biggest boom period in history. And he would continue to write, this is from Wade Keller: the skepticism on Laurinaitis stems from his lack of a proven track record. In the ring, he barely qualified as a mid-carder, with his most acclaimed U.S. stint being a run in WCW as a tag team with Shane Douglas called the Dynamic Dudes.
Stop it.
And then he moved on to All Japan as a wrestler and eventually became greatly influential as the main intermediary between U.S. and All Japan management.
You know why he was? He had good penmanship. He was organized, stayed pretty organized. Mrs. Baba loved John. I'm not insinuating any sexual crazy shit. I'm just saying that he built his relationship with Mr. Baba largely through Mr. Baba's wife, who thought Johnny was a handsome, blonde, tall, lean, pretty white teeth, and always nice and a good politician. So that's how that worked out. The boys that had gone to Japan, or the boys that had negotiated deals through Laurinaitis, oftentimes would tell me, I don't trust him. I didn't trust him then. I don't trust him now. And I said, well, he's your guy. I'm out. He's in. So you got to play for him now.
The other thing that would be written here is, while he's working for All Japan, quote, it's during that stretch of time that he polished his skills as a slick schmoozer and management pleaser. And one current WWE wrestler would tell Wade, he's drunk with power. It's one thing for us to tolerate business being down. We can handle that pretty well if this is still a happy place to work. But if we're miserable, and it's heading that way right now, it's tougher to cope. And Tom Pritchard, who is one of the folks let go by Johnny Ace, says, I don't know how much John just says yes to Vince. I'm not there when they have their meetings or talks, but so far it's obvious that Vince likes the way John is doing things because he's still there. Mm-hmm. And this is a tough spot because, of course, Tom Pritchard is Bruce Pritchard's brother, and he's cut loose here. Another great trainer. He's in that same Al Snow level. Tom Pritchard is as good a trainer as he is in America. And he goes right to hand in glove with how good Al Snow is. We had great trainers there. I didn't give a shit about politics. I didn't care about their white teeth. I didn't care about what they wore or their comportment or their kissing ass and laughing at every joke. I didn't care about that. I cared about teaching the guys the safe way of practicing their skill. And Tom Pritchard and Al Snow both are proficient at doing that. And if you don't believe me, folks, go back and look at these guys during that era that we brought into the company and how they had developed. And the guys that become millionaires and Hall of Famers because they had goddamn good coaching from the ground floor up. That's where that came about. And the guys could see right through Laurinaitis. Hey, John's a decent guy. I was a little miffed that when my wife got killed, he didn't communicate with me. I thought that was kind of chicken shitty. But what the hell? Who cares, really, right? We don't communicate. We don't exchange Christmas cards. I don't give a shit. And he don't give a shit about me. That's fine. It's reciprocal. But the bottom line of it is he's a worker. He's a worker. And, you can go back and trace the steps. And folks, you can get pissed at me if you want. I don't care. I'm just telling you the truth. He's a worker, and he outworked me. But at the end of the day, I was getting burned out. I was getting beat to hell, and my health was failing me.